Hello, this is Marky2200 and welcome to my Need for Speed testing series. Today we're going to rank all the cars from Need for Speed Underground from worst to best based on a lap time. All the cars have been doing a proper lap with a standing start on the Market Street circuit. They all have been upgraded with their maximum available performance parts and they have been visually customized. As we've proven in a previous video, visual customization such as body kits, spoilers and roof scoops do not affect handling, downforce, drag in any way, shape or form. So I thought, given it's underground, given that it fits the street vibe, I thought it would be nice to customize them. I didn't go over the top, I just customized them how I wanted them to be. All the cars have been using manual transmission and the stability control has been disabled. Something I also wanted to say is that you can pretty much divide these cars into tiers, and I'm not going to rank them on A tier, B tier, C tier. No, we're going to rank them based on what time they cut on the nearest second. Something I also wanted to say is that this ranking is quite different compared to my ranking in 2019, the original testing video. With that said, we're going to see how this ranking compares to the previous ranking in 2019. So let's get into the ranking. And obviously one car had to come in last, and unfortunately that at number 20 we have the Toyota Supra. The Toyota Supra did the lap of Market Street in 1:16:45, and I will classify any car that did the lap in 1:16 something as a bad car. So what made the Toyota Supra a bad car in Underground? Well, for the simple reason that it has a severe lack of downforce. The speed and power is good, but that doesn't really help with a severe lack of downforce. At number 19 we have the car that was the worst in the previous ranking. We have the Mitsubishi Eclipse with a 1:16:20. The downforce is mediocre at best, but it's the speed what really kills this car. It has a severe lack of power. Handling is alright, grip is alright, but with mediocre power and mediocre downforce, yeah, it doesn't get you really that far. Coming at number 18 we have the Subaru Impreza, and the Subaru Impreza is the first car that got into the 115s at 1:15:86, and all the cars in the 115 are decent cars. So the Subaru Impreza is just on the verge of being a bad car, and that's because this car has a severe lack of grip. However, unlike downforce or speed, grip is something you can somewhat manage. So it's alright. Yeah, it's decent. Exactly what it is. At number 17 we have the Nissan 350Z, and the 350Z got a time of a 1:15:58. And the Nissan 350Z, well, the fronts have got good grip, but the rears don't, so this car is very likely to slide, making putting a good lap pretty much impossible. However, it's a fun car to use, but for hot laps it's pretty terrible. At number 16 we have the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and the reason the Volkswagen Golf is down at this bit is because, well, it's understeery and you can't push it when it has understeer. Another thing that I wanted to say is, well, pretty much all front wheel drive cars will snap if you brake and immediately steer. That's just a problem that some of the front wheel drive cars have. Same with the Ford Focus. The Ford Focus is understeery, it has stiff suspension and the front snaps easy under braking. With stiff suspension it's very difficult to take curbs at speed because then you simply lose control. And snapping under braking, I mean, you just seen it. I almost lost control of the front right there because I turned in too quickly when I was braking. And then the front will snap at you. This is the same problem for every front wheel drive car. And it's no different for the Hyundai Coupe at number 14. It did the lap at 1:15:20, and it's overall a decent car, but like pretty much any other front wheel drive car, the front will snap at you if you brake and turn in too quickly. Everything other, it's decent power, decent handling, decent downforce, but it won't make any wonders whatsoever. Coming in number 13 we have the Nissan Sentra, which is pretty much the same story as the Hyundai Coupe. It's a decent front wheel drive car overall. It did the 1:15:02, so it's just barely a decent car. It will snap on the braking if you're not careful enough. Again, it's decent overall, you won't make any wonders with it, but it's not bad either. Coming at number 12 we have the Honda Civic with a lap time of 1:14:69. The 114s are the cars where I would call they are good. There is one problem with the Honda Civic, and it is the same like in the starter car videos. Its 5th gear is just way too long and 4th gear is way too slow. That means that in 5th gear you will have barely any acceleration whatsoever. Grip is good, downforce is good, power is good, but it's just at 5th gear. At number 11 we have the Toyota Celica with a 11466. The Toyota Celica, I mean, it's surprisingly good, to be honest. It's pretty much the exact same like the Nissan Sentra, but just slightly upgraded. Again, the front will snap on you if you're not careful enough. But that's pretty much to be expected with any front-wheel drive car in Underground 1. Cracking into the top 10, we have the Honda S2000 with a 114.16. The Honda S2000 is a decent car, but you will lose the rear if you're not careful enough. And well, this is pretty much with if you turn in too quickly or you use too much of the downforce, you will lose the rear and you will lose control. Otherwise, it's a pretty good car overall. Coming at number 9, we have the Acura RSX, which did it in 113.92. And I would say that any car which did it in a 113 is a great car. So the Acura RSX is pretty much just a solid overall front-wheel drive car with a good sense of speed, good downforce, good power, good grip. It's solid overall and it's a great car to use. Coming at number 8 we have the Nissan 240SX, which is quite low compared to my previous ranking when it was at number 4. So why is it so low then on the list? Well, for the sole reason that the suspension of this car is way too stiff, which means you need to avoid curbs when you're at speed or you will lose control. And I will demonstrate at this corner where I intentionally avoid that curb, because otherwise I will lose control over this next section. At number 7 we have the Mitsubishi Lancer, which did it in 113.68. And to be honest, I don't have much to say about the Mitsubishi Lancer. It's a solid car overall with not a lot of weaknesses, but not a lot of strengths either. It's just your typical solid overall front-wheel drive car. It has decent power, decent grip, decent downforce, and it's overall just a great car. Coming at number 6 we have the Dodge Neon, which did it in 113.44. And that is pretty much the same story like the Mitsubishi Lancer, where it has no real strengths, but no real weaknesses either. It's just a very solid overall front-wheel drive car with good power, good downforce, good grip. But it's a front-wheel drive car, so it could snap under braking, but a lot less, like some of the cars lower on the list. At number 5 we have the Mazda MX-5, and the Mazda MX-5 did it in 112.93. And I would say that any car that did it in a 112 is an amazing car. The main weakness of the MX-5, however, is that it's rear-wheel drive, and whereas any rear-wheel drive car will take about 3.5 seconds to get to 100 km an hour, a front-wheel drive and a four-wheel drive would take a second less, so there it already lost a second at the start line. At number 4 we have the Nissan Skyline GTR, and the Nissan Skyline did it in 112.91. Nissan Skyline is what I would say an amazing car overall. It does slide a little bit, but it's nothing major and it actually makes the car more fun to drive. I would say that this is probably one of my favorite cars in Need for Speed Underground. It has an amazing sound, the best sounding car in Underground in my opinion. It's an amazing car overall to drive. At number 3 we have the Acura Integra Type R. And yeah, the Acura Integra handles beautifully. It has loads of grip, enough downforce and a good amount of power, and it is solid, amazing car overall. It does snap under braking if you're not careful enough, however this effect is much less severe compared to cars lower on this list. It's an amazing car overall and I would definitely recommend you would try this out. Coming at number 2, this is just amazing. The Peugeot 206, which was the best starting car, is at number 2 for the best overall car. It did a 112.59, and in my opinion this is the best handling car overall. It doesn't have as much power or acceleration like number 1, however if you want to have an easy time, this is just the car for you. It's amazing, it has amazing handling, amazing downforce, and it's at number 2. However at number 1, it was pretty much already expected from the beginning. We have the Mazda RX-7, which did it in a 111.99, which means that this car is in a tier of its own. Yes, it is rear-wheel drive. Yes, it is somewhat slow to 100 kilometers an hour. It takes 3.5 seconds, so it already lost a second. But its speed, its downforce, its grip, it's just amazing. I mean, I'm going through this corner at 260 kilometers an hour, where most cars would struggle to do that at 240. On a flying lap, this car is just in a league of its own. Its suspension is also just right. Its downforce is amazing. Its power, I mean, everything on this car is amazing, except for the fact, like I said previously, that it's rear-wheel drive. But to be honest, everything else just compensates it for it amazingly. So it's pretty much just the same as my previous testing, where the Mazda RX-7 is pretty much in a league of its own, because this car just it's 6/10 faster than the Peugeot 206. And I would say that the handling of this car is slightly worse than the Peugeot 206, but it compensates it by its sheer amount of power that it has. So those were all the cars from Need for Speed Underground ranked from worst to best on the lap time. Notable differences compared to my previous ranking is that the Nissan 240SX is down 4 places. We have a new worst car, and well, not surprisingly, the Mazda RX-7 is again the best of the best. If you like this video, consider leaving a like. If you wish to stay updated on all my future videos, consider subscribing. The next video, we're gonna rank all the cars from worst to best fully upgraded on a drag strip, so stay tuned for that. This has been Marky 2200. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.